Okay, go. So
Do I look at, who do I look at?
look at me.
Look
Pretend
at
she's
you.
not there.
Okay, she's not there.
No,
Okay,
she's not there. It's just
okay,
me and you.
okay.
Welcome to another episode of It's About Time, where we are going to chat today about making things happen with somebody who I find is iconic, and I'm extremely grateful and blessed to have the chance to sit with him one on one in his space, and I'm extremely excited. But before I fully introduce him, allow me to read you his bio, and you'll see for yourself why I'm so excited. Simon Chang's Chinese roots go back to his great grandfather, Chang Toi, a pioneer merchant who was among the first Chinese to settle the British Columbia in 1874. Born in Guangzhou, China, Simon moved to Vancouver when he was just 9 years old. After graduating from Britannia Secondary School, he attended Emily Carr University, formerly Vancouver School of Art, on a scholarship program from the Hudson's Bay Company. Simon specialized in photography and graphic design, eventually evolving his creative knowledge into the field of fashion. Upon graduation, Simon Chang chose to travel, wanting to experience art in every form, medium, and shape. He especially loved New York City in the early 70s, the mecca for the American art and fashion, the Broadway musicals, the art exhibits, and the bohemian streetscapes that sparked his imagination. Along the way of his many travels, Simon Chang decided to stop in Montreal, and he was immediately taken by the uniqueness and distinctiveness of Quebec. He decided to call Montreal home in 1973 and accepted an opportunity to work for the Hudson's Bay Company in their fashion buying office. It's there that he learned everything he would need to learn about fashion retail and that industry, knowledge that would serve him well for his future enterprises. After several years in the manufacturing sector, Chang was ready to go solo and created the Simon Chang brand. His first innovative design endeavor was a line of affordable ready-to-wear wardrobes for career women, incorporating color and striking patterns reflecting Chang's early career in graphic design and photography. His whimsical designs became Chang's signature look that revolutionized the concept of office wear and made Simon Chang one of Canada's most commercially successful designers. I'm going to stop right there.
Oh, okay.
How does it feel? First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
How does it feel to listen to just a small blurb of you read by somebody else?
Well, it's very interesting because it is the facts of my background, and it's been a wonderful journey. So it's nice to hear because I want to inspire the next generation of designers or creative people just to make sure they will get an opportunity to fulfill their dream.
Right. So I have to tell you, I met you about 6 or 7 months ago at a product launch for a collaboration you were involved in. And I was, by happenstance, fortunate to be seated at your table. Otherwise, I would have been maybe put in like another seat somewhere where I wouldn't have had FaceTime with you. And I was struck by a couple of things. I was struck at your kindness. Your kindness is on your sleeves. And it was a very authentic kindness. And your joie de vivre, it was very clear. And I am struck by that because in this day and age, it can almost make me emotional. We don't meet authentic people as much as we would like to. And I feel like it was such an amazing thing to see.
Well, I think for me, it's always a pleasure to meet people that I come across in my business.
Yeah.
Number one is, I have to appreciate the fans that I have, the women that I dress, and people that buys my product. I really appreciate that very much because I really feel that I have connected my design to people. So to me is I love to talk to people and I love to hear their stories because maybe that I could also improve in my career in creating things that are needed.
So I want to go all the way to the beginning.
Yes.
So when Simon was a child,
yes,
were your folks okay with you going into a creative pathway?
Yes. You know what? I was very fortunate. My parents are extremely supportive, and for a Chinese background, that they always want your children to be doctors, lawyers, and professionals. And going into a field of creativity, of designs, and unknown type of profession, they were very supportive. And and I think I feel very fortunate that I really do feel there's the unconditional love that I got from my parents, because you need parents to support you.
Yeah.
And just say it's okay. And I always try to do the things that I want them to be proud of too. Because if I believe in something, I think I want to do it well. And I'm a very ambitious type of person, because I like to make things work. I believe in it, and I'm going to go through it. And it's a lot of my drive is based on frustration. When people used to tell me I can't, no, why are you doing this? And I was saying, well, because that's the field that I want to venture in.
I want to take a deeper dive
Yes.
into that. And the no's came very clearly because you're not a part of the dominant culture.
That's right.
And I find that heartbreaking, but it's our very real reality.
Right.
And did you ever feel discriminated, or did you say, I'm not even looking at that, I'm just going for it?
I never look at it, because
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because I can't dwell on these negativity, because who knows? Maybe I could make a difference. And I always fought all the obstacle that I faced, because don't forget too, in the creative field, it's very abstract. Everything's very abstract. There's no right answers, because when you're doing academic type of career, yes, there is 2 plus 2 equal 4. This equal this, and you become this, right?
A whole new world.
And then we're always being labeled, right? What kind of career do you want to get into? And I said, do you have to be this? Do you have to be this? I said, I want to be everything. Like in the creative field. So when they would say to you, you want to be a graphic designer? I said, yes. Do you want to be a photographer? Yes. You want to be a fashion designer? Yes. I want to be a filmmaker? Yes. I want to try everything.
Right.
So that was the question that people always say, oh, come on, you stick to something, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I am sticking to a creative mind, but I'm not restricting.
Yeah.
Or,
so if somebody were to ask you for advice today, what would you say? If they said, I'm looking for advice, Simon, I feel I'm creative.
Yes.
But I don't want to pick. What would you say?
Well, I always, first thing I tell the young students or young people, I said, what's your drive? What do you want to do? Okay? And I said, what are you driven for? And people would say, I said, if you tell me you're driven by money, fame, and all that, then you're in the wrong business. Because yes, that will come, but that is not what you work for.
Right.
You work to fulfill your passion.
Right.
When you get up in the morning, this is what I want to do. I just want to go there.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. In all the years I've been working and studying, I never was driven by money.
Right.
I would like in my bio there, where I was going to go to New York and maybe go work for Milton Glaser. He's a famous graphic designer,
Right.
and Richard Avedon, the famous photographer. I said I would go there and work for free if he let me.
To learn from that.
That's
to
right.
Absorb that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm trying to look for a job. I'm trying to look for experience. Because
I think that's the key.
Right?
I really feel like that's something we're missing out on, where some people today are looking for a fast turnaround. But if you're really doing something, you know that it takes building blocks. It's not going to build, Rome was not built in a day, right?
That's
so
right.
We need those building blocks. We need that foundation. And I find it so compelling. Did you always see yourself as an entrepreneur?
Yes. Well, no, just being creative and different. Why I was saying that about to the student, I said, I would work for free. This is what does that mean? And I mean, I really want to be in their world to learn because what are the chances do you get to work in that field when somebody said, "Well, I'm not looking for somebody to hire."
Right.
Well, can I just be part of your team?
Yeah.
Free.
And if somebody were to come to you, fast forward, and say, Mr. Chang, I love what you are doing, your energy, everything about you. Is there a way that I can shadow you? Are you open to people coming in? Okay.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what it is. It's not that. I like somebody to say, okay, can I just come for work for a week and let me show you
what I can do,
what you can do,
yeah,
what I can bring you. So if I hear something like that, of course you gotta pay them. But the point is they're willing, yeah, and that's the hunger. Yeah, the hunger, and that's the ability that I like in somebody that. It's the same type of passion that I have. You know, it's not about time. This is not about 9 to 5. It's about that. It's getting the job done, and finding sources.
Right.
And people, you know, I don't want a gopher.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I think gopher is just somebody that just follow your instruction.
You want to see.
Yeah, I want somebody that gives me an input somewhere, right? Make a comment. Have a point of view.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me because not only had I met you a few months back, but I'd known of your work forever. I grew up knowing about your work, and I would have been living under a rock if I didn't, right? It's such an iconic brand.
Right.
Specifically for women who enjoy color and enjoy playing in colors and being a little bit edgy, right? We're not always in the same kind of a scheme. We're playing with colors. And when I met you for the very first time, I had not even launched the podcast yet.
Right.
And I said, you know, I'm thinking about doing this. Would you be a guest? And without hesitation, you said yes. And why I'm bringing that up now is because it's so striking to me. There are other folks that I thought would be interesting guests, and their responses were, let me see what it sounds like before I commit to this. And I found it really, wow. You're not a Simon Chang. You're just somebody who's starting to try to write a blog, let's say.
Right.
And they're hesitating. And here you are, somebody who basically is making time for me and is saying yes, 100%. And that goes back to your kindness. And that goes back to your ability to want to see people succeed.
Because I also feel that your message in your field will spread the joy of my passion, right? And so why not? You know what? Why question all this when you think about it? That's how I talk to people and in the street. I mean, it's not like, you know, I'm Simon Chang, I don't talk to people, I don't have and you know, so this is very important that to me I'm very accessible because, you know, because I view people as equal. Everybody is, there's nobody that is so unusual that I can't talk to them. You know, because my customers, they're all people that I could talk to. You know, when I do an in-store event, I mean, people just feel, I give people undivided attention because to me, I appreciate the fact you are here to meet me and you're here to want me to show you what I could, how to dress
your body, yeah.
And I said, you know what, I would gladly give you my time of day to do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily you have to buy, it's just to chit chat, you want a photo, you want a selfie, whatever.
That's the truest sense of customer service.
That's right.
That's the key piece of customer service. And do you feel like you had to teach people how to be a part of your team?
That's definitely. Yeah. That's definitely because, you know, I'm from another school because to me I appreciate everything in life. And you know, even when people send me an email or a phone call, I make sure it's answered, the customer is answered properly. Because why not? Because they made an effort to contact me. So I should discard their effort.
Right. I feel like all of this is based in humility and grace and gratitude. And it's such a warming feeling. I want to make sure I use the right wording here because it's not a vanity, it's not a fakeness. It's really you're grateful that they're buying your clothing. You're grateful that they want to reach out to me, even if it might be a complaint.
Yes,
I want
yes.
to hear about it.
Yes.
I'll perfect my design.
That's right. That is
know.
very important. I always tell my team, I said, there's a reason why there's a complaint. Something is not quite, we didn't deliver something that for the consumer to be 100% happy. So what is the problem? You know, it is very valid. It could be one lot that is not perfect,
Right.
or something that as a consumer, they pay money for my clothes, and there's something that wasn't quite right. So maybe I could see, okay, what seems to be a problem. If
Right.
you don't investigate, you have to criticize your own company because not 100% is perfect. So I expect the same from another company if I'm complaining about something.
Right.
You know, and it's important. A lot of people just blow you off. They said it's not about getting a refund or getting, but just say, okay, do you understand why I didn't like your product?
Right. It's a deeper
That's
connection
right.
you're also making.
And
at the end of the day.
I always tell the company, I say, you know, I'm so happy I hear the complaints because I know, because I hope it's not constant one,
right. But it helps shape
that's right.
And change things.
And you recognize which department, which part of the system was failing. Okay, and also too, you know, like listen to the customer. If you were late on something, well, there's this issue that you're late. The customer was not happy. They were promised something, and so why are we late? No, but sometimes it's we forgot, and is there something wrong? Find out what's the reason. You know, and apologize to the customer. I'm sorry, we had some issues on production, and it did come in late, and now we would like to, you know, explain it to you, and maybe perhaps I'll give you a little gift to compensate for it.
Right.
You know, so I think this is very important.
Can we take a step into knowing when to scale? I find it so hard, and I'll explain why. I used to own a music magazine 20 years ago.
Right.
Loved it. I was doing interviews with artists and getting to put people into perspective as to how they related to the Montreal music market, or Canadian and global. It was so much fun. But when it was time to scale, I was scared because I did not understand scaling.
Yeah.
I didn't understand giving somebody that Rolodex and letting them make the contact information happen. Like, I was too afraid of passing on the information.
Right.
And maybe they might not represent me well. Maybe they may, you know, start their own thing. Now I'm giving my competition the information. It was very scary. And ultimately, I wasn't ready to scale. How did you know when it was time to onboard people?
You don't. Really, you don't. I think it's your own gut instinct.
Okay.
And I had all the time, my staff, first thing they say, Simon, why are you giving people so much ideas, information, and they're going to copy you, or they're going to do it for you? I said, don't worry about it. I have another thousands of ideas coming out, so I might as well let somebody use it. It's not easy. See, people think it's because of ideas. Sometimes it's not ideas. It's can you do it? That's the thing.
Can you follow through with it?
Because a lot of times you say, wow, I have an idea how to write a song. Well, write it. Oh, I can't really get I mean, we always learn to criticize about people, things. Can we do it?
Point. Yeah.
And I said, if you can't do it, you're not going to be the star that you think you're going to be. Right? So prove to people you are worthy of the title.
Absolutely.
So a lot of time is, I tell when we have our meetings in the office, I said, don't talk, show me. This is really the lessons that I want to teach everybody. Don't talk, show me. Why? Because you know how you talk. I mean, you could be very symbolic, you could be very theatrical, you could all that. That doesn't mean that look like that.
Yeah.
Show me what you're talking about.
Show me the money.
Yeah.
Bring it.
That's right.
Bring it to me.
So another thing that I always try to tell students, if you can, if you can possibly do it, learn how to express yourself properly. Because uh, draw something, figure out something, fold something, something to tell somebody that you know what you're doing.
The format.
Yeah, format it.
Right.
Because you don't have to be perfect, but you got to show people what your ideas are.
Mm-hmm.
Because right, you can say, "Wow, I thought about this, but
Show it to me.
Yeah.
I can't. We're not always going to understand
that's right,
things the same
that's
way.
right." And so this is very important communication. As an artist or a creator, we are communicating ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a songwriter, you hum a song or hum a note,
Melody or something, right?
and they say, you know what, if you see something, you say, okay, you know, I have a picture of this and this and this. You see, this is that profile of that person that I want to star in the movie, right? You can't just describe somebody.
Yeah, you have to really know
Yeah.
where you're headed. And that's one of the things about your design. Let's talk about your design now, which is really interesting and timeless.
Yeah.
Where they're edgy pieces, edgy in a good way. They're not outlandish.
Right.
They're edgy because they play on color. They push the boundary on shape. They push the boundary on color schemes.
Yes.
And they're timeless. How are you able to flirt between timelessness and fashion forwardness?
Okay, now this is a very good question because I
you have to
always
say it like that.
yeah no because I always tell people, okay, when you see a Simon Chang product or Simon Chang design, what do you see?
Mm-hmm.
And they say, yeah, but I like the way you turn the sleeve this way. You like, it's not, it's crazy, but just you have a way
A
of
flair.
interpreting the fabric. And I say, well, I call it Simonizing things,
I love that.
right? So because if you can recognize my pieces, then just another garment, right? When you say, that's your print. This is nobody would dare to use that type of motif, right?
Yeah.
Or look at the way you put that shock of color. Or wow, this is a fantastic shape that nobody's gonna make this, you know. Or so this is where I try to break the barrier, because sometimes you say, okay, because it goes back to frustration. Buyers say, well, you can't do this, it's too much fabric. I said, but it enhances the design. But look at putting it on this person. Look how spectacular she looks.
Right.
And so it's a bit more money, but we're not designing according to a
price tag. Yeah.
So I said, the first, my job is to make you look beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You just
or enhance that.
Simon, no, I'm not taking it off. I love it. Well, where do you get that?
There could be no higher compliment
That's right.
for you.
So
right?
these are the things I say. You know, a job of a fashion designer is to create things that people women want, right? Mm-hmm. If you want my clothes versus that the other designer clothes, well, I'm flattered because I reach out to you and you got
We've connected.
Yeah. So these are things that, because you have so many opportunities, customer today have endless selection.
Yeah.
Look at all the stores you can buy, all this, the world. This is a global market now. Mm-hmm. You can even go on a website in South America or somewhere in Paris or London and all, anywhere.
And get it.
Get it somewhere,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
So you said, I choose this one.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good for a decision, right?
Yeah. And it's so integral when you speak. I feel that you work in integrity and you design in integrity. That's why people want to keep coming back to you.
Yes, and I really try to work on delivering the best product possible for the price.
Yeah.
Because see, I'm not in the market of the haute couture where there's $5,000 jacket and things like that. That's not my customer. I don't want to cater to. That's not what I'm into. I want to cater to people that can wear my clothes.
Everyday people.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of time is when I'm in a store, I explain to a lot of different people. I said, they said, well, your clothes is too expensive. So I said, well, you don't have to buy everything I make. I said, you could get away with other pieces from other lines, but You won't get this jacket somewhere else. Oh,
Exactly.
you're right. You know what? I could get a different turtleneck, maybe
Different
yeah,
bottoms.
but
Yeah.
and somewhere else, and it's fine. You still got the look, but it's the jacket that makes the
That
statement.
makes the outfit.
Right,
Exactly.
right. So this is the signature piece you want.
So when you talk even about how you're clothing women,
Mm-hmm.
there's a connaissance. There
Yes.
is an understanding of I don't even want you to buy everything
That's
because
right.
I want you to be able to buy more than one thing over
Yes.
time. So I want you to be comfortable with what you're buying. I
That's
want you to
right.
be confident in what you're wearing.
And your decision is right because even if you said, okay, I really can't afford that much, but I would say to them, I say, why don't you wait till the sales? When the sales come, you still can capture
But which fashion
that.
designer says that?
I know, but
that's the integrity of you that I find wow. Like when I think of you, I think wow. You say get it on sale. You don't have to pay full price for it. I know it's going to go on sale.
and
Get it
and
done.
another thing that I even go further, I said, you know, if you go to some vintage store and you see a old Simon Chang piece that it fits you nicely, you can purchase that at a lot of lower price, but you're also getting a collector's item.
Right, right.
You know, and so they say, I never thought of that.
Yeah. So I mean, you strike me like every time you talk, I want to just say wow, because you're just wholesome. You're wholesome, and
Well, that's how I live my life.
that's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
How do you find a balance between working and balancing life and family?
Okay.
How does that work?
It's very interesting. I live a very simple life. I know most people don't believe that, but I live very simple. I do very simple things.
I
Make,
believe you.
I cook. I clean. I just do whatever normal people do, really.
Right.
But I just happen to like it.
Okay.
Okay, I like it. I'll tell you why. Because I live alone, and I said, you know what? I'm the tough customer. Okay, you can please me. I can pretty good at pleasing somebody, right? Because I want to take the time to enjoy my life.
Mm-hmm.
See, all this is for what? I'm not interested in just looking at my bank account.
Yeah.
I want to be able to say, okay, you know, I get up in the morning. What would you like for breakfast? How do you make? And I'm very particular about cooking, and so I said, okay, you want the perfect eggs? Make it. If you can make it,
For
don't
yourself.
complain.
Okay.
Ever complain anywhere else?
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, I like soft boiled eggs and and I very ingredients very simple.
Okay.
And another thing that I want to teach people how to cook is why don't we cook with ingredients that you personally like?
Mm-hmm.
Don't follow a recipe.
If you don't care for cardamom,
That's
don't
right.
put it in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know why is that so difficult for people?
Mm-hmm.
I said it doesn't because we put a title to the food, right? So you say I need chicken cacciatore. Well, oh my God, I can't buy all this ingredient. No, it's just really chicken with tomatoes, right? So make it your way.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
I always encourage someone to make it your way, right?
But that's I think also how you. But just by being in here,
Yeah.
that's how you live.
That's right. That's
you strike me, and I told you this when we were chatting before we started rolling. You're fearless. Your designs are fearless. You seem to live fearlessly, meaning you're okay to color a bit outside of the lines.
I always, yes.
You know, and that's okay. I feel like that's part of your legacy is to teach people to be fearless.
And it is because when I travel, I mean, of course, sometimes it's nice to be recognized by people at the airlines and all that stuff. But I'm not using that as the reason why I like to be known, right? I talk to them about how they feel about their uniforms and things like that, and I talk about how are your kids, if because it's a personal thing that I like somebody happy. If you're happy, I say, oh, I love what you're smiling about, and that's what I want. I really want to project happiness to most people's life because you say I met Simon Chang. He's such a joy, and that's really wonderful.
And that's the energy.
Yes.
That's the energy where you're jumping in photos.
That's
where
right.
You're still jumping in life.
That's right.
Like you're jumping out of the photos. You're jumping off of the print because you are just so vibrant.
And I travel everywhere, and I go to buses, subway, any type of vehicle. Don't care.
Yeah.
Why do I care? You know,
Yeah.
and so people always say, "Is that you over there?" I said, "That's me."
Yeah,
you know,
you and Keanu Reeves on the subway in New York.
I love that. You know, they'll say, "Could I have a picture?"
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But that's the humility piece that I don't feel we see often.
No.
And that also leads me into your philanthropic life.
Yes.
Because it's very apparent that not only are you grateful for what you have, but talk to me now about how you've always chosen to give back.
You know, I am very grateful because I always feel I was very blessed by, and why? I think there's also something tells me I should do something great for the people, and so I started the foundation in the mid 80s, and why? I want to encourage things that mean something to me. Number one, education is number one. I always went for education because I gave scholarships right across Canada, every province. Okay, you see it's inclusive. Yeah. Okay, I didn't want one province. I didn't want one place because that's a real limit to create.
So just that area.
I want to find talented people all over the place. So why shouldn't I offer a scholarship to different areas? And then also too women's issues because they're my customer. I have to be concerned with their issues. You know, battered women. There's people homeless and all that. I think it's very important to understand people in need.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody has a story. I'm not going to be judgmental. Right. It's not my place to judge people. But if I can help you, you know, so I'm trying to, but I go deeper. I go into shelters and things like that to find out what do they need from so-called me. And I said, what can I understand that you this is so important to you? Like, for instance, underwear, socks, and simple things like necessity. That's where I could come into supply this stuff for you.
That to me strikes me again as that very human piece. Have you always, I'm asking this because I really want to get to some of the challenges you've had to overcome. With a lot, can you speak to me about some of your challenges and how you've still maintained your humility?
Well, first of all, you know, being a visible minority is already the challenge because, you know, in my days, there weren't many prominent people in any industry, right? And so I said, okay, I'm going to break the barrier. I think, you know, because if I think of myself as colorless, so then there's no problem with this, okay? Yeah. Because, you know, people always say, okay, where are you? What is this? What is your background? They stereotype us.
Right. That's what you're supposed to be doing versus where you're headed.
What are you doing here? Right. You know, things like that. And also too is like, did somebody give you a lot of money to start your business? No. You know, did you know? No, yeah. I really didn't know. I just went for the instinct.
Just didn't take a no.
No. And I never really planned, like, you know, because everybody's always going to say, okay, do you have a rich daddy that could buy a company for you so you could be successful? No. Did somebody entice you to go into this? No. It was all me, you know, like, because I just thought if you're going to do it yourself.
Right, right.
And if you need, do you know everything? No, I don't know a lot of things. I don't even know much about business. I just happen to got right into it. Of course, I have my mistakes. I mean, I have a lot of other things, but I pay for it. That's the learning process. Right. You see, and I never regret.
And that's the fearlessness. Yes. That's the willingness to throw yourself into the deep end.
That's right. And I said, you know what? If you can't say life is not perfect. Right. I'm not just going on a yellow brick road, right? Yeah. You know, people think you just, oh, you're lucky.
And I think it's that way because we idolize folks. We put people on pedestals without getting to see the real person. And media doesn't necessarily help that. Social media doesn't
because
help that.
that's something.
Because it's plastic in a
Yes,
sense.
but it's also it's not the typical story of
Yeah.
success. They don't want it. They want the same feeling as what they know. And when I used to talk to a lot of journalists, they said, you know, Simon, you are a very difficult person
Really?
because I can't slot you into a label. I said, but I have my label. but no, because you know why? Because they will say, okay, in Quebec, don't forget in the 70s, 60s, 70s, fashion designer are basically work for a manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
And they work for a blouse manufacturer, they work for a coat manufacturer, they work for a dress manufacturer. So basically, a designer do one commodity.
Correct.
This person comes here to wants to do the head to toe of everything.
Yeah. And isn't looking to work for a manufacturer.
Yeah. And they say, what is this person? Because we can't control you.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to do what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
No. This doesn't happen in this industry. I hire you to design blouses.
And that's it.
That's it. And I said, my vision is so different. I see women as different other things. You know, like how do you create comfort? By creating new clothes.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Mm-hmm.
Because
new fabrics,
yes,
new
exactly.
Knits, right,
you can wash it, you can it's stretch, it's comfort, it's sexy and all that.
Travel in it.
That's right. But our parents' age, now they want the perfect suit.
Yeah. And the sharp starched
they
lines.
go to church with. They wear this. They wear this. Oh, our generation, my generation at that time. Hey, we want to be different. We want casual. You know, like look at how you can dress today going to work versus 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
You know, but most women could not wear pants. Okay, I mean, you were forgetting this. Women cannot wear this. They're not acceptable in the boardroom.
Yeah.
So you can say, oh my God, today we can wear sneakers, we can wear, whatever.
Yeah.
The freedom. You can have your different color hair. You could have different makeup. You can have anything you want today.
And you have been a part of different waves of trends and also technologies.
That's right.
How do you feel being a part of these whirlwinds, and also how do you keep up?
How I keep up? I mean, I'm trying to keep up because I'm learning from the younger people how to get more involved with social medias and the computer. I'm still learning. I mean, I'm still a student of everything, right? And it's really interesting hearing from them. There are pros and cons because they look for instant gratification, and so that part they still got to learn some depth to the answers, and it's we're not so in my generation is not as disposable as today.
Right.
Today now you're written off.
Yeah.
Like
you're in and you're
right.
Out. Yeah.
Your 15-minute fame. That's it, right?
Next,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything is old. Fat goes old quickly.
Immediately.
And age quickly, right? Yeah. And so, so you're going to say, okay, I'm the oldies, but I want to be relevant, not extinct, right?
And you've managed a over 40-year span career, and from the looks of it, you have no desire of slowing down.
No.
So what's next?
What's next? As I'm looking for. Well, I'm not looking for, but I'm going into for more challenging things. I want to do something I've never done.
Okay.
Okay. Now, at my age, people say, "You want to do things that you've never done?" I mean, it's like I say, "Why not?" This is where I can see with my background, I can contribute differently. Yes. There's a whole area that I wanted to tap into for the senior people and disability for disabled people. I want to create great products that make an improvement in their life.
Okay.
Why? Because I think we are facing an aging population, and plus
Absolutely.
a lot of these again unique group are never addressed. They're written off.
Yep,
right? And I said, people are living longer. People have more knowledge of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why not
Cater
and it's just another challenge.
Absolutely.
See, like I'm working on a pole for walking. How do we capture the lightest pole, and how do we get the more compact?
That's so interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm going to work on the wheelchair eventually. I hope I develop a wheelchair that can go up the stairs. See, that's
Okay.
you see.
So what's cool is you're in an area where there's robotic experts, there's AI experts. I feel like collaborating is something you do very well, and you've been doing with brands from across the
Yeah.
country into different countries, even where you're working with Air Transat, Home Depot, Tigre Géant, or Jolly Tiger, to name just a few. And how did these collaborations come about? And I'm going to ask you more
Yes.
in depth. When you read somebody's bio and you hear, oh, they've started to work with so and so, and now they're working with an umbrella company, and now they're designing hats, it sounds so floral.
Yes.
It sounds like, oh, it's so easy to just pluck a company out of the sky and start collaborating with them.
No.
I don't think it's that easy.
No, not at all.
How does this happen?
Well, most of the time, okay, I'll tell you, life is full of coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
They come to you if you
Stay open.
If you have your window open.
Yeah.
That's all. That's how I explain it. Because a lot of people close the window constantly. Okay, they just not open.
Mm-hmm.
How much do I get for this? What is it in for me? And all this. So by that time, somebody said, well, I don't know. Well, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
So the opportunity is gone. Yeah. Like the home hardware paint, how it came about was somebody, I got a call one day, and this person asked me, Simon, I love your brochure of that dress with the fabulous print underneath it, and we really like to, can we use a picture from your brochure? I said, sure. Okay, what are you, and what are you? Why are you doing this? This I'm from a home hardware, and we do beauty tone paint, and we really like your spirit of fashion and the influence in the color. I said, okay, and she said, are you interested in doing a color card for us? We would like to collaborate for you. I said, sure. Now, people don't say sure right away. So I said, okay, let's talk. Come to Montreal and talk. They're in Toronto. So they came. They said, you know what? I love it. I love what you're doing. And
but it's your openness. It's that you don't say no to opportunities.
That's right. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't for me.
I feel like these are the gems in the podcast that when people are listening to, they're listening for informative pieces. And what you just said is so instrumental. Stay open. And you hear that now, you're reading these Instagram posts all the time. Stay open, it'll come. Stay open, it'll come. But until you put it into practice, you don't really see it.
No.
But you really do have to stay open.
And one of the questions I always ask a potential licensee is, how did you find me?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think I can bring to you?
It's funny you ask them that versus you asking them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like for them to tell you versus what can you bring to me?
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, what can I bring to you?
Yeah.
Why do you want me?
Mm-hmm.
So because obviously there's a reason. They say, you know what, I like your color sense. I think you have that type of bigger than life images of your clothing, and this like the Air Transat, like you said, they'll say, I like the classic line that you bring, but you still has the edge of something, and so they'll say, can we work with you? I said yes, but my collaboration is very my rules of collaboration is I want to be involved. Don't
just stick my name on something.
Okay, they'll say, you do? I said, yes. Well, what do you think you want me for?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's prideful, and I find that it's just that it goes back to my feeling of it being integral. You have pride in what you do, so you don't want to just throw your name out there because it's your name.
And I want to know why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So it's been a very interesting time.
You have me really feeling that our listeners are going to be able to understand that it's not always about money, and that sometimes opportunities come and you really have to weigh them.
Yes.
You really have to listen to yourself. And do you chat with people before you say yes, or your intuition guides you?
intuition guides me. You know what? It's me. I'm the only one that say yes or no, right? It's not somebody, because I don't have a business manager behind me and say, okay, Simon, do this, then I would never do anything I want.
Got you.
Because then somebody scout all this. I said, I'm not interested. If it's
somebody else.
Yes. And another thing is, I also feel, I say, I like to hear about the project. They say, well, what do you want to hear about? I said, I want to know the time, because I can only give you certain time.
You know your boundaries
Yes,
and what you can provide.
because they said, look, I'm not here all the time. I have to work on my collection. I have a life in my business, right? And I said, the only good part is, I know now, this is, people don't want to hear this. I work, when I used to do the big collection, I'm away May, June, July, and sometimes beginning of August. Away.
Designing.
Yes, and that's fall collection. The spring collection. Fall collection, I have to be away November, December, January, and sometimes February.
Okay.
You want to wear in my shoes to do this? Not really. I want to spend Christmas with my family. I want to do this. I have to have holiday. Well, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I have to work, because if I don't get those 2 collections done on time, I don't have a business.
So Simon, do you still design every piece, or do you have designers working with you?
I don't have. I work with other designers for the licensees, and I try to do as much as I can, because it's the team behind you. Because a lot of time is what happens is, it's the concept of the collection and what you want to say in it. That has to be established, or else nothing.
So how much is fashion, like haute couture or other fashion brands, how much of that influences how you design? Meaning, pashminas are huge right now, so I'm gonna have a pashmina, or ponchos are back, and I'm gonna incorporate that.
Okay.
Do you know what? Do you know?
I know what you mean.
Okay.
I listen to what's out there. I see what's out there. I don't necessarily follow, because I'll tell you why. If that trend happens to be a very prominent trend in the market, like now, they say, okay, we got to do flowers. Everybody's doing flowers.
So if you hate flowers,
or not only that, no, but if you want to make a difference, what kind of flowers are you going to capture? You got to be different from what the mainstream is. You see what the problem is today? Everything at retail looks the same.
Absolutely.
So why? You know why? It's the same. The structure of designers are very different. We don't have those designers when we used to be doing the collection. Why? Every company that I work with, they send their so-called designer or merchandiser to go to Europe to shop. Why do you have the same garment as that one and that one? Because they all went to Zara, they went to H&M, they went to this store, they bought the same stuff, they produced the same stuff. That's the sea of sameness that we're facing.
Yeah, and that's like very a la mode. It's very fast fashion. It's very fast fashion.
But so, where are when you're shopping in the store?
Where's the creativity?
Where is this different print that I want? Or where is this message I want? Because don't forget, as a designer, we're not designing clothes for now. We're designing clothes for 6 months from now.
Right.
So this is not what we want to see in our collection of what's now in the store. So that's where the lack of creativity.
Yeah, you're right. And I find as I've gotten older, I've also invested differently in pieces. Right? Maybe when I was younger, fast fashion was where I wanted to be, because I can fill up my closet. Right.
And it's now.
And it's what I want today. It's tendance. But then as I've matured, I've become much more selective as to the quality of the item that I'm buying. So that's where I will put my money. And I will have 1 or 2 versus the 7 or 8 that I wanted beforehand. And
another thing that, you could dress economically and stylishly by also buying more accessories. It's how you put it together.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
so people don't realize you don't have to buy the whole outfit. buy the pieces that's going to make the difference.
That's gonna make it
Yeah.
pop. And you're one of the first designers. I'm gonna talk quickly to you
Yeah.
also about inclusion.
Yes.
And I say quickly because there's so many things I want to cover.
Right.
But inclusion to me is not an easy thing to capture, and it's something that I feel for many years I was silenced for.
Yes.
And if I can say that, then I can assure you that thousands of other women had felt silenced, not just in fashion, but in terms of acceptance, in terms of beauty standards, in terms of what was really at the core of those decision making processes. And you were one of the first to say, I don't care about any of that. I'm going to have a model that's a fuller figure. I'm going to have a model that it captures real life, that
Right.
is real.
That's right.
And that goes to playing into your fearlessness, but also understanding your market. Did you ever get backlash for wanting
Sure,
to do
for
that?
sure. I have constantly. Why did you hire that model? She's not kind of the mainstream, right? She's
Yeah.
not blonde hair, blue eyes. I said, well, why not? They say, that hair, I can't. That hair, who's gonna have hair like this? I said, I love having hair like this. Why not? I'm doing fashion, right? Oh, I don't like their makeup. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this. I said, why does it matter? It's my clothes, right? Oh, I don't like the way it's worn. I said, well, wear it your way. I don't like the combination, so wear it your way. That was my whole thing. I'm only suggesting things. So don't make it an issue. And it is, like you were talking about, I use very diverse models, right? And then they'll say, you're brave because the customer is not this, and I said, who cares?
But also, I think it's so false when they say the customer isn't this.
Well, to them.
Specifically
Yes.
to them, because the customer is us.
That's right.
And
it's all women.
Yeah, and it feels so unfair to have somebody else tell me what I should or shouldn't be doing according to the standard that they've provided for me, versus seeing where my hard-earned cash can go and how I can make those sound decisions for myself. It's always been something that has hurt me in terms of how we're trying to move the needle further, and we look for allies. So if I'm trying to fight racism, I'm looking for an ally from a dominant culture to help me get them, to get other folks on the bandwagon. Same thing with fashion. I'm looking to align myself with people who have a very democratic version of fashion.
And I'll tell you about sizes. I always fought against, is it only 3 sizes that we
Right.
do?
Right.
I said, what happened to the bigger girl? And always say,
Or a much smaller girl.
yeah, small or very big, or different types. So is it possible that we could create, see, how I create the line is there are pieces, it's adaptable to all this. And it's not the same message as, they want the same cookie cutter message.
Yeah.
Okay, and I want to come in, this year I'm going to see the same thing as last year because I did well.
Because it worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, it's a new ball game. Every season is a new ball game. I can't cope with this. I said, well, that's what we're in this business. Change, right? They said, I don't know. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I travel the world. I said, I see every ethnic group, East Indian woman with sari wearing sneakers. That's great.
Yeah.
you know,
Because your feet hurt too.
but why not, right?
Exactly.
When you talk about this, look at these, these Asians that maybe work in the factory, but look how cool they look
Yeah.
because now they can wear this, right?
Yeah.
And so I say, this is the world's changing.
Mhm.
Come on, we are, being very individual.
Mm-hmm. I have some standard questions that
Yes.
I ask all of our guests. One being, do you have a daily ritual that you abide by daily?
I do. I do the exercise. I do the 5 rights. That's one of my thing that I do every day. 5 rights it's a stretching program, exercise program from the Tibet, and it's really just about breathing, stretching. So I do that religiously, and then I do my walk because I go to the subway and I make sure I walk all the stairs. By the time I get to here, I'm pretty good already.
Okay.
So that's exercising is very important. I eat very simple, very simple. I eat 3 meals a day, and I really eat very boring food. I mean, so-called boring food because I just like very pure food.
Right.
I taste the actual ingredients. Uh, and I feel good. You see, it's the energy,
Absolutely.
and it's so great because I try not to have things bother me. I mean, you know, you never know. You get a phone call and you get this. I say, okay, let's solve the problem. That's just it. Because I like to be happy all the time, and I think I could make myself more happy if I look at things positively.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't let
Your
things
outlook
go.
is always half full versus half
Yeah,
empty.
and I'm always quite. I'm always kind of home alone type of person, like because I like my life, and I always could find time to do things that I want to do.
That's beautiful.
You know,
That's beautiful. Are there any books that you are currently reading that you think are great to talk about, or are there books that you go back to kind of refuel you when you need to?
I do have books. You see my library, but the thing is, it's always the simplest question: what do you want to do? What's going to make you happy? And I think you go by that, then you will be that way. Because a lot of time is I don't meddle in people's business. I don't this doesn't concern me. I'm very happy in my place here. I know people always say, where are you? Oh, I'm at work today. Sunday, you're working? I say, oh, no, I'm just playing here, right? Playing. I always say it's playing. It's just, that's the way. If I feel like walking outside and do something, just do it. I have absolutely no routine. I mean,
You govern yourself as you are today for today.
Yeah. If I feel like eating this, okay, let's just go eat it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like to make all those because my whole life is about agenda.
Then you'll be so rigid all the time.
That's right. I don't want to be dictated that way.
Yeah. And are there quotes or metaphors that you use?
I have tons of quotes because I always see the humor in life. Okay, so whatever the quote is, it's also kind of a contradiction or somebody always saying this. I said, okay, but it's not quite the way you guys interpret.
Gotcha.
So I want to put a real fun spin to it. So I'm always writing a little quote, and I will. It's going to be very important because those quotes are going to be translated into cushion covers, all the other things. So later on, you're going to start seeing and say, "Oh my God, I love that! Where did you think of this?" Right? And the thing is, I'm always feel if I could be stimulated all the time, I would never stop.
Oh, I have no doubt you're not stopping anytime.
Right?
I have no doubt.
And energy flow, inspiration, it just comes. So you've got to encourage them to come in. If you don't, if you don't let it in, I don't want to hear about this. I don't want to do this. I'm always writing something. Okay, think about it. And you know what's so funny? Because ideas that you in your mind. Maybe another 3 years ago, you thought of this, but it never was materialized. Because so store it here or store it somewhere. It's maybe too early.
Yeah, it wasn't time for it.
Yes, it wasn't time. Timing is very much the key.
So if somebody were to gift you something, I feel like you make a lot of things that make you happy.
Yes.
And you can acquire what you want.
Yes.
If somebody were to gift you something, what would stand out to you?
Okay, I'll tell you what it is. I look for somebody that gives me something from their heart, something they made, something that is important to them. I don't want stuff that you could buy just to, or you figure out something that I would be attracted to. So, oh my God, where did you find this? That's what I like people to have effort, put effort in communicating with me. This is something you're gonna love because I don't need anything. why would I need, people always say, birthdays. I don't even care. Birthday, any of those, because to me, I have to have a life that is a continuous, I have to be on the treadmill,
You're always on it.
right? So I don't want to say, okay, today I stop to this. If it just happened, it just happened. And I know people will say, gee, you're a tough person because nothing is that rigid with you. You somebody missed your birthday. Oh, they didn't understand me. How can they
Right,
forget? And I said,
The ego is inflamed. Yeah.
it's not important.
Right.
It's the time you have with somebody that's the most important.
And I feel you make these connections so genuine because we've had this very authentic exchange. It's a very joyful moment. And my cheeks hurt because I've been smiling so much because it's infectious.
Oh, good.
It's
Oh, good.
infectious, right? I like to think I'm a positive person, but to be in your presence is a present.
Yeah. Well, I hope I can share my enthusiasm with people because it could be helpful for people to think of, it wasn't so bad, was it?
No, it
You know
wasn't.
what? I never continue thinking about it because we always think of it stop somewhere.
Right.
So, oh my God, disaster. Listen to the whole story. Oh, I forgot to hear about the ending. Right? It
You
wasn't
just
what.
stuck
Yeah.
in the moment.
You
Yeah.
react,
Right.
and worst thing is react
Mhm.
because or get so emotional over somebody's words.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are very mean people, and they just say something to provoke you to get angry or to go up the deep end, and that ruins your whole day, your whole month, right? No.
No. You're like Teflon. It just slides right off.
Well, it's
It has to.
why would it? Because somebody said.
I feel like talking to you is also like the lessons of the fountain of life in a sense, where you're just like, let it go,
That's
let it go. And all those cliche things we hear,
That's
you're
right.
living proof of.
And I always say,
It's
move
true.
on. It's and it's really true. Don't dwell on things because maybe that's the time to go bypass this.
And try something else.
Yes.
Our time is done, and it flew by for me, and I hope you enjoyed
Oh,
it. But I am so I'm so overwhelmed in a beautiful way of just being in the space of your presence in terms of your spirit, your light, and that shine that you give. It just really ignites other folks.
I hope. I hope so. But because it was really fun talking to you.
Thank
You see,
you.
I don't look at my watch. I am not that type of person because most people say, they can't talk. Go. We have to do this, and we have. No, I'm not like that. If I'm into the loop, I'm continuing the loop, right? And I think everybody's important if they want to contact me because it's not because you're only worth this and you're only worth this, right?
Mhm.
So to me, it's anybody that's interested, it's worthy of my time.
Your genuine spirit is very infectious, and I've started to meditate so much more that I send intentions to myself and others. So if you allow me, my intention for you is the continued prosperity of joy to give to yourself and to fuel others.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's very good. That's very good inspiration for me too. And I hope I could continue this.
Yeah.
And I hope people's life improve
Right.
after they speak to me or things like that. Because you know what? Why wouldn't I share all my wisdom and all the other things? Because where am I going to take it? I can't take it with me. Right?
Exactly. So thank you for sharing your
Oh,
wisdom
you're
with
welcome.
me. And you have been listening to It's About Time with Simon Chang.
Oh.
A wonderful experience.
We'll do it again on
I would
other
love
things,
that.
right?
I would totally love that. And I'm once again really grateful for your time.
Thank you.